Karunya deemed to be university, where excellence and innovation converge. With prestigious NAC A++ accreditation, ICAR accreditation and NBA accreditation across eligible programs and top-tier QSI gauge diamond ratings, we stand at the forefront of quality education. Our faculty's dedication to student-centric learning and entrepreneurship equips graduates for success. Through innovation-driven initiatives, advanced research, and centers of excellence, we are shaping the future of technology and societal progress. Moreover, we take pride in offering international internships in over 85 countries, providing our students with a global perspective and invaluable experiences. Karunya deemed university, offering diverse programs in engineering, agriculture, management, online MBA, artificial intelligence, forensic science, biotechnology, and media. Admissions 2024-25 is your chance to shape a brilliant future. More details, contact 1800-889988 and visit www.karunya.edu. Welcome to Karunya deemed to be university, where excellence and
I request all the panelists to kindly turn on their cameras while we get this webinar started. So while that is happening, I'd like to extend a warm and a good evening to everyone present here. As you all must be knowing that agriculture is an integral part of India itself as a whole, and today's discussion is all about it. Hello, my name is Hiba, and it's my pleasure in welcoming you all to the webinar on Smart Agriculture brought to you by Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences under the Hindu Education Plus Career Counseling Series. We have 4 experts here with us who are thrilled to share their knowledge with us. So please join me in welcoming. Firstly, we have Dr. Sarjan Kuren, Professor and Dean, School of Agriculture and Biosciences. We have Dr. R. Augustine, Associate Professor, Department of Agronomy. We have Dr. D. Alice, Professor, Plant Pathology, Department of Agriculture. And we have Dr. Danusha Balakrishnan, Assistant Professor, Department of Agriculture. So maybe have smart conversations like our topic itself is smart agriculture. So that being said, our first speaker will be Dr. R. Augustine. He's completed his PhD in agronomy and is currently the Associate Professor, Department of Agronomy, Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. He is a professional member of the COIR Board, Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, and the Coconut Development Board, Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare Board, along with many others. He's also successfully completed NRM, a nutritional program in 30 plus villages. And he's been featured in 15 plus publications that are well recognized. He'll now be addressing us on the topic smart farming practices. So over to you, sir. The stage is all yours.
Thank you, ma'am. And I take this opportunity to thank everyone, and I also welcome all my colleagues, my faculty members, and my friends to this presentation. So I would like to So today I would like to present the recent topics, that is smart applications in farming practices, which is with the topics very inevitable and adapted to enhance production and productivity. So here we will be talking about, in general, about the policy, what is happening in the earlier trend, past and today, or in future, what is going to happen with regard to smart applications. So I would like to just make a small introduction before getting into the topic in brief. So here, food security has grown into a serious concern in all countries across the globe due to the growing populations And this happens, how it happens is due to the depletion of natural resources, loss of agricultural farmlands, as well as rise in uncertain weather conditions. So today what we talk about is a climate change and also the major issues about land degradations. So here we talk about these are all the issues which is moving towards the smart agriculture applications. So even though there is a declining trend of agriculture GDP right from 2006 and 13 to as of now, but we remain very strong in other resources in production as of now. So almost our country, India, if you say it's a country of enormous diversity like geographic, economic, and ethnic, with this agriculture crop production and management is a challenging task actually due to various environmental factors, and the population is somehow we are trying to balance with the food security and nutritional security as we go on with smart applications here. So we have a very different geographical climates like with low rainfall, and we consider medium rainfall where only 35% of the area, 33% of the cropped area comes under the medium rainfall. So what are the sets of policies which we are directed as far as agriculture and food in India is concerned is right from the documentation by OECD and FAO and World Bank, we try to manage the price and market channels for many farm products at domestic and international levels, and government subsidized price, because we focus mainly on two subsidized area. One is investment subsidy and another one is input subsidy. So we try to balance this both. And we also have a very general services in agriculture sector, which is research and extension right before the Green Revolution as well, before 60s. And we try to take the food staple crop as a major subsidy through the government subsidies areas. And we try to regulate border transactions through trade policies by liberal and flexible movements of goods across the borders by reducing the taxes and other benefits. So here, when you see the first economic structure, which was being consolidated for the past 10 years, if you see, India was slightly behind, not India, especially agriculture sector was behind the industry and services. As of 21-22, if you see the GDP, the services ranks first with about around 51%, and the industry ranks 28%, and agriculture ranks only 16%. So in these cases, even though from 17.4, we have come down to 12%, and slightly we are moving slightly ahead because of various factors, which we will be discussing in the smart application chapter. So the employment also, like there was a declining trend, but there was a good trend when compared to the industry and services till 2016, and there was a declining trend from there on actually. So the annual percentage growth by sector value, if you see, we have three major sectors which we really focus and compare GDP. So GDP is that consumption, investment, and we take other import and export, all this into one area to calculate the services which has been provided. So agriculture is the one area, if you see, the growth sector value was there, but there was a decline over a period of time. That is due to the less crop area, the climatic conditions, environmental factors, and very labor force have come down. So the services sector is slightly moving towards upward than the manufacturing sector. So the labor productivity also, if you see, it was very stagnant, and there was slightly an improvement in the agriculture, where the services was improving. So if you see the growth in gross agriculture when compared to other countries, among India, when we compare India in production next to China, but we rank in the 5th when compared to other countries like Vietnam, China, Indonesia. It's because that our fertilizer per hectare is only around 213 when compared to the 2021 data. Actually, when compared to that, China is almost double the fertilizer consumption. So that would have been one of the reasons why other countries' productivity might be in the increased level. Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand are still very higher than China even at the rate of productivity of consumption per hectare. So the power of investing in agriculture has two different layers actually, two different SDG goals, like to reduce hunger and poverty. And this is one of the area where if we concentrate, that we always talk about agriculture productivity, which has creates social and economical ripple effects by adding not only the food security, but also a major is about the nutritional security, which need to be addressed, where the malnutritional problem is extreme and it is very dangerous to the human population. So here we get into the introduction. Because of the time limit, I'm just restricting to some of the slides here. When we look at the population here, by 2050, we are expected to reach around 9 billion people. So where we need to feed the people by 70% to 100% more food production is required, for which we need to be, which is a very alarming statistics actually. So because one way we say that land area have reduced substantially over the years, and other area we say that the productivity have not improved. And other part, major part, we say that we have very labor. We have a very labor restrictions, or very limited labor in agriculture areas. So the employment have also come down in agriculture. But in spite all, we need to have a very strong focus to complete the 70% to 80% of 100% of food production to meet the population by 2015. So this is due to various factors. I told pollutions on one side, because agriculture stands with the second major pollutant when compared to other sectors. So smart application in agriculture will play a very crucial role to counter all these problems like pest and diseases in plants, nutritional imbalance in plants, and irrigation facilities, and yield balancing among the crops. So here, why do we talk about this revolution here often in smart applications is that the smartphone revolution, if you see here, you will understand from where it started, agriculture revolution from the 10,000 years ago, how it started, what was the impact it has created in agriculture is something very unique. You will all know like why this agriculture 4 revolution, which is happening now, and where it is going to lead to. So now this agriculture revolution itself states very clearly that it has to be digitalized. The technology have to be digitalized to transform to an industry. That is where the extension will play a major role to improve the business skill among the farmers. So that is where the society is where now looking into that. It is not like this particular revolution is not going to address any transformation of food chain, but it is going to target now the method of cultivation, which is going to be adopted in agriculture systems. So it is very clear, need to be scaled up, and it has to be advanced. The modern equipment have to be brought in, and applications have to be very simple and affordable to the user end. So that is where the data have to be accurate then and there, have to be monitored, have to be evaluated, and have to be transformed to the food to improve the chain, complete supply and food chain process. So this is how it happens in the 4th agriculture revolutions. So we are looking for another breakthrough of green revolution 2 here. So this is how this 4th revolution, which is presently in practice in some of the areas, and still we are not widely accepted, and it has not widely reached all the farmers. We truly accept that there is some amount of hindrance in there. Actually, why most of the technologies are being developed. We have so much of very powerful researchers, technocrats. We have so much of field extensionists, but still in most of the cases, why we are not able to achieve that minimum amount of technological inputs or advancement or technological improvement, which is not happening. We see how this revolution is going to target at different levels like monitoring. It controls irrigation-based greenhouse gases harvesting systems, and it also predicts the temperatures, weather forecasting, and the market demand, which is a very crucial one, and logistics, as we said that this is one of the major areas where supply chain management have to be very strictly monitored to give a very good quality produce to the buyer end. So the monitoring of soil monitoring, crop monitoring applications are still in practice, but it is not at a very wider level. And the focus now is on to tighten and to establish this monitoring of agriculture 4 revolution very effectively through a very, very strong advisory services from the soil or the crop technocrats and by extensionists as well. So what are all the different smart applications in farm practices? If you see, in general, the agriculture industry has has a definite technological advances over the past decades when we compare to the 70s, 90s, 2013 and 2020. Definitely there is a technology advancement in agriculture, right from the manual to the machinery we have reached. And there were more of a modern technology, which is slowly converted into the conventional concepts in smart agriculture. So the modern technology have to overlook to meet out the productivity level, to meet out the quality parameters and to compete with the global market. That is the only vision we have in smart applications. And to compete with this, India or the agriculture system has to be very strictly taken up, monitored, and it has to be evaluated so that the quality parameters are being achieved to reach the global market. So to anticipate that it becomes a cornerstone of the astute ranch. And the list of some of agriculture techniques we generally follow is for irrigation, which is practiced elsewhere, which I have seen. Automated vehicles, UAV, unmanned vehicles are being used. Drone applications are in practice still. Harvesting, like the time and appropriate timing for practices when the crop reaches a maturity stage, and what is its other parameters, harvest, post-harvest parameters are also been taken into account. Sowing, the time of sowing based on the soil moisture, temperatures, and climate, and weeding. The weeds are being detected and crop maintenance are been completely from end to end. It will be monitored by which this agriculture techniques will be used. So when we look at the first and the foremost methods of smart farming is the one which has been into the action for the past 5 to 7 years is IoT, Internet of Things for agriculture. It is an emerging technology that it makes possible to create a system that supports agriculture really. But this is how it works actually with different sensors. Tries to take it into a gateway. From there a database is stored, and then it will be monitored and it will be interpreted by the specialist or the technocrats. So that will be conveyed to the farmer. So this is one way, a model which has been developed first for soil moisture and the fertilizer nutrients, and slowly now it has been upgraded to the pest and disease surveillance as well. And the second part, artificial intelligence, as we know, this is taking part right from the games to the computer education to the intellectual level. It is a high-end artificial intelligence which is there in the system for the long time, but to the agriculture system, now it has been really activated that it completely, it almost, we can say, almost it replaces the human intervention in the agriculture system. And it is capable to act and think, people acquire knowledge, and also resolve issues in various form. Like one of the best model we take that we could not sometime analyze, assess, or predict from a distance whether it happens due to nutritional deficiency or it happens due to some other secondary or primary diseases. So sometimes we need to have this sort of a model in order to, at least if the land degradation, at least land area, if it's reduced, doesn't matter, that we can substitute with the productivity. So in order to bridge the gap, such smart application will play a very crucial and vital role to monitor the systems and give a proper remedial measures in the cropping pattern. So whenever the soil or a crop has any problem due to any seasonal variations or changes, such predictions will be of much helpful. And it also helps to acquire more of a knowledge by the field officers and solves many issues. And so the third one is that blockchain technology, which is the one which nowadays the private players are playing it, using it, right from the import and export buyers are really looking for this. So we have a different model with QR codes, and so that we go back and see that when the farmers have harvested this, the date, and what is a date, and when it was dispatched, what was a logistics delivery, all those data will be there. So looking back at this information, this gives a very strong evidence, and it gives a very reliable to the consumer as well. So people rely on this such sources that where you get a proper database, what is happening in from the field to the market. So the once if you see a crucial role, many technology, sensor technology are used for smart agriculture. Like the purpose is different, soil and detect animals and weeding, spraying, moisture sensing. So these are all some of the different sensors which are in the market and which has been used now for developing a product. So this has been widely used. And now we can also see like what are all the different sensors used in farming. So optical sensor is the one which have been widely used, because right from the soil moisture to the detection and the fruit maturity and the fruit pest incidents after harvesting, the optical sensors have played a very, very vital role, no doubt. This has been very successful at the field level. And apart from that, slowly people are trying to include many sensors at multiple levels, so that at one stage farmer is able to monitor all through this connectivity. And these are some of the 13 sensors which are in active, and among this, one or two are being used now in across India, and not very widely, but still it is under the very nascent stage. So the fourth one is mobile applications, where now people are using it through the different calendars and digital soil tool management and advisories are been happening through mobile applications. So all these predictions, all these soil related data are being forecasted, by which interpretation happens between the specialist and the farmer. So these tools also help there are two tools like gyroscope and the accelerometer, or the one or the additional smartphone tools which are being used in these mobile applications. So chatbot is the one which we know that which is one of the upgraded tool to mobile application, where you call the call center and get clarified. If you are not getting a right answer from a direct like direct anchor, they'll be directed to a specialist, where we get a reply from them or a solution for the particular problem through Kisan call center. So now we will come to a very practical situation, like what is the advantages of IoT in agriculture or farming sector. If you see advantages, because this particular product or this particular technology where the agriculture process or system is developed requires a huge like investment. So for which not an individual farmer will be able to afford. Why? The reason is because almost, if you can see, 85% of our farmers hold less than 2 hectares of land as per the statistics. So the people who hold more than 4% of hectare cultivates only 35%. The cropped area remains 35% only. So here itself, we can see there is a variation among the farmer group. So where the collective information and collective effort only can resolve the expenditure and the major issues, which we will see in the coming next slide too. So the safety and security is one in IoT technology, where the quality of the produce is being very closely monitored, right from the post harvest to the logistics and to the delivery to the consumer. So the data is quite very, very authentic and reliable, where we can deliver high quality food. Because why often I used to say that quality parameters is that it not only addresses for smart application, it also mainly targets to reduce the malnutritional problem, where 2 billion people are being affected very badly across the globe. And India faces almost around 40 to 60% malnutritional problems, either by either by immune system or by anemic problems. So it is a very wide it is a very wide known problem, and that is where the quality parameters should happen from the field, from the diet. It should not happen from the supplementary foods, or it should not happen from the fortification of any food material. So that is the concern, that why such technology will play a role. No doubt there it might be expensive, farmers' acceptance might be very slow, but over a period of time, such technology have to be executed in the field to reduce such malnutrition, which is a very dangerous, and this particular problem is rising by 20% across the globe every year. This is a very, very proven statistics, and I always have a very concern that biofortification of or release of such crops are going to play another crucial role parallelly along with smart applications now. So the competitive and challenging nature in IoT is that it is very easy to monitor actually, and marketing becomes easier because of delivery of good quality products. And expenses and damages, as we said, that over a period of time, the return on investment, it is going to be down in 3 years actually to the farmer, or 2 years, depending upon the premium price what the farmers are going to get. So the expenditure is always not calculated at one time single investment when the farmers purchase a product. The expenditure has been calculated over a period of time, and the recognition and the reliability of the produce, handling, affordability, all this come together, and the ROA will be shortened to 3 years or 2 years, depending upon the produce where it reaches the market. So the awareness, smartphone apps, initially people started using this for understanding the market price value, so understanding the market situation in APMC, like Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee is playing a major role, and they keep posting the data like about the availability of the goods and the requirement of the harvested produce. So awareness is there. And the finally resource management, that is like you need to have a proper agriculture capital and a system which should enable the farmers to get updated components, because this will help them for research and maintenance as well. And also, this will also help them to complete the jobs. There is one more critical advantage is that any venture can be started with the existing IoT technology, so that it will also help an agriculture graduates and the startups to get connected with the farmers for easy maintenance as well. Because technocrats usually are startups with agriculture graduates or related graduates, whoever gets into the field with such technology will be able to better inform the farmer, better be accustomed to the technology systems, and make a very good, like have a very good rapport, understanding with the farmer, so the farmer gains confidence with such technocrats, what is happening at the field level. So this is where we look not only on the product alone, even the venture can be created by the new startups with IoT technology. But I myself have seen that many IoT technocrats have come to have promoting this venture to the farmers, taking it to the farmers. So this is one of the critical area which I want to be very practical with everyone here, is that there is a scope, no doubt. So first we will look at the challenges, how we see this as a major challenge here. One is that it is a problem that when it is installed in the field, there is a high chances that it might be exposed to the natural environment. And that is one of the reasons, like what we see here, chances of theft or damage due to by animals, or it can be of, like poor maintenance. So all these factors have to be taken into account, so that the farmers gains at least a minimum amount of confidence. Okay, we'll be able to manage it. These are all like farmer centric. Farmers have to be involved in the process, that it will not happen anything. We will have some insurance model for this. So we have to guide them at every stage to say that any technology or any product has been taken to the field to gain some amount of confidence. So it is not only to prevent some particular, or it is not to identify the source of a problem from the soil or to the plant. Also, before taking into this, we need to give a lot of confidence, lot of extension, and to see that the farmers have that confidence and rely completely on the technology. So this taking it to the farmer is not that easy, that way, especially in the collective farming. We need to be with the farmer for not more than 3 to 5 years to make them understand how it works actually. No farmers accepts at one stage. So that is the reason why this FPO have been brought into the track. So the rural regions in India, see, what we are trying, our vision, as I told from the beginning, it's to target the global market. Our vision is to be very competitive with global markets, because our MSP price, minimum support price, or a competitive price, are lying very close for some of the crops to the border reference price. That is an international price. So international, some of the crops like wheat and maize, 4 years before, it has gone above the international price. So where you end up into a problem, and the particular crops will remain stagnant, and the export market will fail actually to the producers. So ultimately the whole technology gets collapsed. So based on the pricing, we need to be very careful. The farmers also have to be taught, because someone have installed an IoT doesn't mean that you have to add that pricing into the cost, and that will create a lot of mess. So your support price will go high, and naturally the markets will get diverted, and it will get deteriorated slowly from your end. So we have to be very careful in fixing a price also as well when such technology comes into the picture. So if you see here, to maximize profit, what is that we do? The scope is like we create like IoT sensors, which is available, and we have to centralize this particular model at particular headquarters within 4 to 5 villages. Unlike a cable TV operator, unless this, the farmer does not, accept our technology or does not rely, we will not create any sort of a very confidence source. So we need to have a very, very extensive studies still to standardize this research. And that is one way of choosing a very right approach, because this is a major concern where we almost half of the technology which has been implemented have not been very successful at field level. It is because of our monitoring and evaluation gap. So the major factor is that we have a very form, size, and shape, and different types of soil and conditions. So where this particular new technology will be standardized, and some minimum amount of still further research have to be done to take this technology into a very, very sustainable manner. So this is how a farmer have to feel much more comfortable in the marketplace, because going into the market is not that as easier as the technology is there. So technology is there right from the beginning. For the past 7-8 years, it was ruling, but taking it to the market, farmers' acceptance and its usage, its adaptability to the conditions, and its affordability to the farmers.
Please come up.
Yeah. This is all about the one application in farming sectors, do's and don'ts, which have been discussed for the understanding. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts on that topic. We'll move on to our next speaker. Before that, in case any of the audience has any questions, you can put that up in the Q&A box, and towards the end, we'll have all our experts answer them for you. So that's with the questions. And our next speaker will be Dr. Sajan Kureng. So he is a professor and Dean, School of Agriculture and Biosciences, Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. He's completed his PhD from IARI in New Delhi. He is a member of the Horticulture Society of India and Indian Society for Nuclear Techniques in Agriculture and Biology. He's also won numerous awards, including the International Jury of Excellence Award and the National IARI Gold Medal. He will now be addressing us on the topic Horticulture Aspects of Smart Agriculture. Over to you, sir.
So good evening to all viewers and welcome. I will just, part of my work has already been done. I will just restrict to where all and which places actually smart agriculture has come into. And from then on, I will move on. Can I have the first slide, please? Dhanusha. No, Dhanusha, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There was some network error, sir. I'll just share the screen.
Please run it through as I go.
Yeah.
See, already most of what I have to say has been said. I will just come into the application side. One is what you have is the sensor-based and all these things, digitalized thing. The second one is on the particular part of what we say IoT servers. And third one is on actually the sensor-based things. Now, drones have been in full play. Can I have the previous slide? Now, where exactly have we been moving to? Now, in case of drones, crop spraying, seeding, crop monitoring, and survey. Again, it has been a big thing in mechanization, particularly in small farm mechanization. Dr. Agustin has already said, with the subdivision and fragmentation, the per unit holding in India has gone down gradually, and it has reached a stage where now we may have to move into cooperative or group farming. Now, one advancement that we have seen in particularly in horticulture is on polyhouse and greenhouse. Again, the applications which already has been said on IIT. Next slide, please. So as we move in, see why at all we need smart agriculture. One is, I said our agriculture has the dubious distinction. One, it has to have, we'll say, the farmers have to be compensated with a reasonable price. On the other side, food cost has to be at the low minimum so that it is available to all. Now, this calls for certain smart practices. Now, 10 to 12 times higher yield is something that we envisage. A year-round production is one thing that we look at. A high export potential, effective utilization of all the resources that we have at hand, useful monitoring and controlling systems, and above all, in horticulture, it is mostly a self-employment opportunity. Can I have the next slide, please? Now, look at the evolution of smart agriculture. Till 1970, we have had traditional things. Gradually, we moved into plastic trays. Again, we moved into what we call the growth chambers, synthetic fertilizers. 1990s, we reached seed priming, and most of the work was on the seed industry side, particularly tissue culture. Equally, we had biopesticides and PGPRs coming in. 2000s started with GIS and GPS-based enabling systems, soil sensors, as we already heard. Again, soil sensors for nutrient as well as water management. Now, 2010, we reached vertical farming, aeroponics, hydroponics, improvement in the vegetable sector all through. And finally, in 2020s, we are in robots. Now, this is one side of the evolution of the industry. We can move to the next slide. Now, this next slide, please. Next slide. Now, where exactly we go into horticulture? Now, the basic, when we look at the whole practice, we have the seed priming on the one side, because seedling production under protected cultivation is an important thing, particularly in horticulture where we move into high value crops. The seed is a vital component of input where it goes into almost a full investment part. Now, here we have to have efficient use of water and fertilizer. We are dealing with very expensive seeds, which requires this automatically calls for a high germination rate, a quality plant-led production free of pest and disease. Now, can I have the next slide? Now, as we move in, nursery is the face of any agriculture, we will say. The production of genetically pure nursery stock is the paramount thing as we started. This goes on two sides. Export of nursery stock is one which is gaining importance. The other side, this is one of the very big employment generation side. If you look up the whole scenario in agriculture, this is perhaps the one that has the maximum entrepreneurial part in agriculture. Can I have the next slide? So we have to move into high-tech nurseries. This is one fundamental thing where we have everything under control. Now, in high-tech nurseries, as we said, we look for all these things: protected cultivation, high-value crops on one side, seed production at its best, and high-tech, we'll say, seed production on it. Added with this comes the entire TC plants. Now, this has been from different angles exploited. Embryo culture, wherein crosses, we fail to actually come out as a seed. Meristem, apical meristem culture, particularly to avoid virus diseases. Callus culture, but with the drawn inherent deficiency of having high, we will say, variants coming out. Protoplast culture, pollen and anther culture, particularly to produce haploid plants. Now, that will give you a uniform type of thing in the whole system. Now, where exactly do we go into tissue culture? It is basically on most of the, we will say, high value crops. Now, can I have the next slide? Now, in the next part, what we look at is the three types of plant importance have come in the high-tech nurseries. To tune with the requirement, we have planting in container roots, bare root productions, as well as root ball, particularly in those in the desert areas where the movement is in balls, so that the post-harvest, we will say, failure of the planting material is to the minimum. Now, this is agribusiness actually looks mostly at plant nurseries, and we have different types. And also the horticulture development board has come with the National Horticulture Board has come with star certifications for the nurseries so that quality is maintained. Now, this is an advancement that has come in this slide. Can I have the next slide, please? Now we come into one of the biggest areas where entrepreneurial activity, export business, and everything is coming up in a big way. Plant essence, particularly in the form of essential oils and oleoresins. Now, spices, medicinal plants are again gaining in importance. And here we cannot go for the conventional type of feed. Now, we go in for vertical planting or in different ways. Now, where do they really hit at? Detergents, soaps, toilet products, perfumes, confectionery. All this goes into. Even it has gone into blending of alcoholic beverages. I know for a place in Palakkad high altitude area where a person from UK is taking the entire produce because he wants organic cardamom to blend his own produce. Now, a high value in economic terms means that the total quality, and this is one where we have to move, and the world is moving to a newer space wherein it is a trickle of a drop and not the entire spices and condiments that come into the picture. Can I have the next slide? India is on the run. Actually, if you look, India dominates the entire spice oleoresins. The oleoresins and spice oils are preferred for most of the things now in the Western and the European markets. Now, the spice industry itself is moving to a different level, wherein the active ingredients do matter much more than the raw produce. It is only, so we have a two-dimensional market, one for the local and one for the export market. Can I have the next slide? Next slide, please. Now, an upcoming area is underutilized and underexploited fruits. Now, till now, what we have been used is the world is changing. In fruits, when you come, it is grouped under the entire what we call as the protective foods, and there are many crops which find a home in the south, in the relative humid areas, the arid areas, and the cold temperate areas, which have come into India, which is also moving at a fast scale. Now, the development on this side is very high, and we have what we call when you look at, as I already said, it is productive food. And then what is most important is the fruit crops or the perennial fruit crops are the most resilient to the climate change, which is the biggest challenge the world is facing today, both in agriculture or in human. Now, with this, the previous slide, we have also seen one of the greatest improvements that has come into is in the high density planting, wherein we have 20,000 acres, trees per hectare on the meadow orchards, which is nearly to 1 lakh. Now, it is more or less a very mechanized system, which involves smart mechanization, smart planting, and smart harvest. All these things going together. So it's that within a unit area, the productivity is the maximum. So can I have the next slide? Next slide. Now, some of the improvements that have come into all these things the worldwide. Now, can I have the value addition is another major area. The it's a micro, small, and medium enterprises has come out with a lot of, we'll say, incentives to promote entrepreneurship. And we say the biggest thriving area and the scope that is there is in horticulture, because around 20 to 30% of the entire produce is going as a waste, post-harvest waste. So if this could be converted into products, perhaps this will be one of the biggest savings, and the increment can be seen also in the for the national economy. Can I have the next slide? Now, some of the products which are there have already been put. Can I have the next slide? The color extraction, the search is towards natural things. Now we have a lot of things which are coming in. So dyes, pigments, all these things are which actually pose a minimum threat to health risk, as nutrient content, antioxidant properties, all built into one. Now the stability of the color is a challenge, and many places it has already been extracted and is available. Can I have the next slide? For example, we have anthocyanate pigments. Now these are some of the things which have come out into the market, which is moving into a bigger phase, wherein natural colors have been extracted and is available in the market. Can I have to move to the next? Now we come into polyhouse, high-tech, I said, where vegetables, fruits, nursery, and in Karunya itself, a lot of vegetables which have been exotic. Next slide, please. Have been introduced into our polyhouse. We have a very big polyhouse. Can I move to the next? And we have gone into big areas where we have selected certain leafy with salad vegetables. We have also gone into many of the things. Previous slide, please. Previous slide, please. Now, see, this is the areas wherein robotics has come into the thing. Planting and seedlings, crop monitoring and data collection, irrigation and nutrient management, particularly with respect to use of sensors, weeding and crop maintenance, which is actually now moving into the robotics. Harvesting and sorting is also become mechanized because there are types which fall with the harvest genetically, which have been bred to that extent. With a minor shake, it falls and it is collected on a net. Now, AI-based decision support systems have already come in view. Perhaps the maximum, we will say, innovations that have come into the whole field of agriculture is in fruits and vegetables. We move to the next slide. Now, some of the things that have been important when we go into polyhouse are there, which has to be there. It is a high input, high return system, wherein we also go in, added with this, even other than artificial pollination, there are certain places where bees have been allowed in ventilated systems so that they do the process of fertilization. We say pollination and fertilization. So pollinate on one side, we have bee honey. The other one, most importantly, we have the workers at least as workers. Can I have the next slide? Now, cucumber farming, this is one improvement that has come in the entire polyhouse. You can see this one system. At the second stage where it is hanging down, we almost have a three phase giving a vertical system. Again, in the third stage, we have not only three, then sidewards. So this is a high intensity system, which is backed up by, we will say, not only by in terms of remote sensors, but it is also available on remote sensing by application in the form of when to have a fogger or a mist. It can be tuned to one of our, we will say, to our ordinary phone and then switched on. Now, this is the stage that we have moved in. Can I have the next? Now, this gives a glimpse of the hydroponic systems wherein water is available. Move next slide, please. We have emitters on the top. Now, some of the exotic vegetables I said, which have been tested in our School of Agriculture Sciences is here. We have lettuce. Again, we have Jerusalem globe artichoke, cherry bell radish. All these which have been imported from US and all, which is doing excellently well. So perhaps a new opening is coming out into the whole scenario, wherein not only lettuce and celery, even we have radish, even turnips, everything coming into the picture. Can I have the next slide? Now, soilless culture is one which is gaining in importance. There are a lot of support systems. We have the resources for it, like cocoa peat and all these things are there. Now, without anything, even with the movement of a water, which has the nutrient and at the same time a small support system to maintain it on the thing, we have a we'll say, a big change which is coming. Now, growing plants in nutrient solutions is going to be the key forward, because we can have enormous number of vertical systems in a single unit area. Now, this has been proved and be found to be very good, particularly in terms of the population explosion and the urbanization that is taking place. One is the population side, but the other side is the arable land becoming very limited. Now, can I have the next slide? Now, this is what I said. We have in different vertical sections. Can we move to the next? Move to the next, please. Now, again, another thing. Now, the advantage of the hydroponic system, see the per square meter, what is the production level? And this is what it works out. Now, this gives a quantum jump in the productivity and also in the production. Now, I said there is an investment, but it is satisfied by the returns that come. Can I have the next slide? Now, the yield is given on one side in the soil and the hydroponic system. See, make a comparison for yourself. It is near to 20 to 30 times in many of the crops. Can I move to the next? Now, floriculture is another area. Can we move? Shall we move forward? Yeah. Automation and robotics has already been touched. I am just giving a glimpse of harvesting of cut flower, gerberas and rose flowers using a robot which stands outside. Move to the next. Again, this is another thing. Now, next slide, please. Now, Internet of Things has already been touched. Automated irrigation systems, particularly using foggers, the first one that we see here, and then using a timer. Everything. From the conventional, we moved to timers. Now we can have it at an app installed in our phone and then being operated as and when required. Can we move to? It gives a precise amount of water as well as a precise amount of nutrients. Now we have a GPS system and GS system where we can go into the individual points, individual needs. Now, variable rate technology is another area where the targeted application of fertilizers, pesticides, and water happens to improve efficiency and reducing. It can be put precision agriculture, but it is more of smart farm. Can we move into the next? Drones have come into a big say, from seeding to surveillance, again to application of plant protection, and it is site-oriented, target-oriented, which gives the minimum environmental difference. We will say environmental drift, and on the other side, more than anything, productivity, work that would have taken 3 to 4 days is completed in an hour. Can I have the next slide, please? Smart greenhouses have already come in. I have already touched. Now, the renewable energy system with solar panels on the top is another area which gives the entire, we will say, backup in terms of energy requirements. Can I have the next slide? Now, hydroponics, I have already said, just a glimpse of the thing. Move to the next. Benefits, move to the next, please. Now, Indian startups are many which have come in. There are even bigger startups which have come with the drones and all these things which have already. Digitizing agriculture itself is a big thing which has come into stay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for sharing your thoughts on that topic. Again, a reminder to the audience, in case you have any questions, you can put it up in the Q&A box, and towards the end, we will have all of those questions answered. And now we have our next speaker. She will be Dr. D. Alice. She's a professor of plant pathology, Department of Agriculture, Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. Her research interests include pulse pathology and micronutrient-enriched products for induced systematic resistance. She's won numerous awards, including the Ford Foundation Fellowship for PG Studies, 1983 to 1985, and the Bharat Ratna Dr. C.V. Subramaniam Outstanding Teachers Award, 2006 ICAR. She'll now be addressing us on the topic application of IoT in plant protection. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Today's topic is application of IoT in plant protection. Agriculture is the mainstay in the Indian economy and it provides 50% of employment for the working force. Today, I would like to pay tribute to Dr. M.S. Swaminathan, who has played a pivotal role towards the modernizing of Indian agriculture. Though smart agriculture and scientific applications have just increased, all the crops are being faced with biotic and abiotic stresses. So today's discussion is on biotic stress, and this biotic stress consists of pathogens, pests, and nematodes. And this includes, it will just have drastic yield reduction. Nearly 10 to 35% of the yield is reduced by this biotic stresses. So before we just move into the actual, I would like to say that these pathogens are being visualized manually, and it can be, the lenses can be used to just identify and diagnose the plant diseases. Once the disease is diagnosed, the pathogen can be taken into the lab, cultured, seen under the microscope, and the morphology can be used to identify the disease. Nowadays, advanced methods are being used for identification. We go for serological and molecular diagnostic techniques. These serological techniques, we have just used the diseased and the antibodies, wherein when they bind, they'll be just giving a color, and these are all the positive diseased specimens. Coming to the PCR-based molecular diagnostic techniques, we have the primers, and then we have the sequences, and these sequences, they are just blasted in the database, and we just get accurately the pathogen which is infecting the plants. This lateral flow strips, these strips are nowadays used to just identify the diseases, and it has just been worked with Phytophthora lead blight of potato, Erwinia fire blight, Ralstonia bacterial blight, and potato virus blight. So these are the diseases which we have got this dipstick method, wherein directly you can just take the plant extracts, and these extracts are the antigen. And these strips, they have the antibody, and when you just add it by the capillary motion, it will just bind and you will be able to give the whether we are having the diseases or not. Coming to the actual IoT. So lots of applications have come in the net, and farmers are now able to just diagnose the diseases. I would like to just discuss nearly 5 applications which are farmer friendly. The first and most foremost thing is the rice doctor, and this has been evaluated and released by the IRI scientists, International Rice Research Institute scientists, and all the rice diseases and pests. All this can be used, can be identified using this application. Next one is the Stumini, in which the banana diseases have been done in this, developed in a smart application, and they have just done it for 4 diseases. One is the Xanthomonas wilt, the next one is the black and yellow sigatoka, the third one is the bunchy top, and one insect they've just developed for the comb weevil. So all these applications are very handy, and it can be easily used by the farmers and identify the diseases and take the management practices. Next one is the Niru. So this Niru, this has been developed by the
Dr. Alice, I'm sorry to cut off. Your slides are not changing. The people cannot see the slides. It's just on slide 1 right now.
It's not seen, ma'am?
Yeah, only this first slide is visible. The other slides are not seen when you flip it. Maybe you can retry it once, and then if the problem is still there, then you can just save the other slides.
இது பெருசா கம்ப்ளை பண்ணி பாரு. Ma'am, is it visible?
I think it is slide number 1 as of now.
Oh, move ஆக மாட்டேங்குது.
No, if it's not working, then you can just speak, ma'am. We can understand by the talking itself. Yes, now it is flipping. Now it's all good.
Is it visible?
Yes,
No.
it's lateral flow. Perfect. Please continue.
We're just mentioning about the molecular diagnostic techniques in which we use the PCR for identification. We can just take the sequence and then blast it, and then we can just identify the plant diseases. This is a bit advanced technique in the ELISA technique, wherein we use the lateral flow rapid test strips. These strips are used to just identify the following disease: Phytophthora, Erwinia, Ralstonia, and potato. The first one is a fungal disease. The other two is the bacterial disease. The last one is a virus disease, wherein we can just take the infected sap, put it in the strip, and then this strip will be having an antibody, and there will be a binding of this antigen, and we'll be able to see whether it is giving a positive or negative result. Now we are just moving on to the detection techniques, wherein I'll be just dealing only 5 of the detection through the AI techniques. The first one is the rice doctor. I've already just said that it has been developed by IRRI for all the rice diseases and pests. And this is working out very well. And these IRRI scientists are the renowned scientists, and this is very helpful to the farmers. The next one is the Tumani, which has been just developed by CGIAR. And this is a smartphone app wherein you can just identify the banana diseases. The first one is the Xanthomonas wilt. The next one is the black and yellow sigatoka. The third one is the bunch top. This bunch top is a virus disease wherein the aphids are the Vectas Pentalonia negro nervosa. They have also come out with a comb weevil wherein you can just identify the damage. Next is Niru. So Niru is the light. As per the African language, Niru is light. And they have just come out for the cassava diseases. And these cassava diseases are very seriously infected with virus diseases. And the virus diseases, the main virus disease is the cassava mosaic. And this is transmitted by the white fly, Bemisia tabaci. Next one is the brown streak. The third one is an insect, which is the green mite. So these 3 diseases, these 3 symptoms can be readily seen with this app, Niru. The fourth one is the Plantix, and this is regularly used by our farmers. And this has been developed by a Berlin-based artificial intelligence startup group. So this just detects nearly 400 damages across 30 major crops, and it is highly useful for the farmers. The fifth one is the Plant Hack. Again, this is a web solution wherein these tools are used by all the cultivators and farmers for the early detection, and this, after detecting, we can be just managing the diseases. Next, coming to the sensors. So some of the sensors, so many sensors we have just talked. I would like to just talk some of the sensors which are used in the plant diseases. So this red, green, blue sensors, this is a color sensor, this is a light sensor, this is a temperature sensor, and here you are having the fluorescent imaging. So with these sensors, scientists have worked with cotton, sugar beet, sugarcane, citrus, apple, and wheat, wherein the diseases like bacterial blight, rust, anthracnose, leaf spots, and mildews, they have been identified and ready for management. And I'll just discuss what are the drawbacks in using these sensors. The detection of disease initiation is very difficult, and we won't be able to identify the diseases which have the similar symptoms. And the thing is, we are not able to separate the disease symptom along with the abiotic stresses, and quantification of disease severity is very difficult. Now that we have just seen the IoT, I would like to just share some of my thoughts. What are the basic know-how a plant pathologist, a consultant, a farmer should know to have a clean, healthy crop? So the first thing the farmer should have, he should select a resistant variety. A resistant variety is a poor man's tool. So he will be able to just cross 50% of the things will be over for him. It will be a resistant variety wherein it will be having a field tolerant and he will be able to harvest good crop. Next one is the clean cultivation, wherein you can just have the most of our inoculum, they are in the soil, they are in the debris, and they survive in the weeds. So unless and otherwise they just clean all these things, this clean cultivation will just lead to heavy buildup of inoculum and there will be heavy severe outbreak of diseases. So this has to be taken into care. The other simple thing is the seed treatment. So many years we have just talking about the seed treatment, wherein the seed treatment is still date not followed properly. So this seed treatment with any fungicide or bioagent, it will just look after the crop for 1 month. So it is a very easy and cheap method wherein people can just go for seed treatment and protect the seedlings for 1 month. The other important thing is forecasting and predicting the diseases, wherein so many forecasting models have just come for the important diseases, blast, lead blight, grapes, downy mildew, apple scab. So these are having the forecasting models wherein the temperature, the dew, the rainy season, everything is a very important factor for all this severe outbreak. So once we know the forecasting, the conducive climate, we should be aware that the disease is going to come and we can just take the precaution measures. I would like to just mention about the root rot and wilt. Both these diseases, they are soil borne. These two diseases, they will be very severe when you just have a drought or if you are not going to irrigate your field and suddenly if the rain comes or if you are going to irrigate the field, the root rot and wilt will be very severe and your whole crop will be completely wiped off. The other important thing is you should have knowledge on the fungal, bacterial and viral diseases. Why we should have the knowledge on fungal, bacterial and viral diseases is that fungal diseases, when it is identified, we are just going to spray the fungicide. When the bacterial diseases are identified, we are just going to spray the antibiotic. When the viral diseases are going to be identified, we have to just control the vectors. So this is a basic thing wherein all the people who are in the farming system should know the difference between the fungal, bacterial and viral diseases so that they'll be able to have a specific fungicide. The next one is the most important thing wherein they should know whether it is seed-borne, airborne or soil-borne. When it is airborne, we have to just focus it on the above ground. And when it's a soil-borne disease like root rot and wilt, we have to focus the spray on the soil and not on the air. And selection of the fungicide. When the selection comes, you should know that this fungicides will be, there are so many fungicides which are specific to the diseases. So when, for some example, downy mildew diseases, we can just boldly recommend the metalaxyl. When it is a sulfur, you can just recommend for powdery mildew. So there are specific fungicides for specific diseases. Tricyclozole is specific for blast. So you should know some of the specific fungicides, and these specific fungicides should be given at the initial stage so that you can just control the pathogen. The next important thing is whenever you just buy the fungicides, be sure that it is recommended by the Central Insecticide Board, wherein the chemicals you have to see whether they have been banned or not. And another important thing, overdose and sometimes your sulfur fungicides won't be acceptable to the crop and it will cause phytotoxicity. The other thing is you have to add micronutrients and bioagents for inducing the plant immunity and resistance. This is a very simple method, and I would like to stress this because I have been working with these micronutrients for nearly 15 to 20 years, wherein these micronutrients, they are just inducing the plant immunity, and ultimately the cell wall is strengthened, the enzymes are increased, and it just gives a very easy immunity to the crop. So the people who are engaged in farming system kindly apply micronutrients, as zinc and boron is very deficient under Indian condition. And with my research, I have just found that zinc and boron is able to manage root rot, wilt, and some of the virus diseases. So you can just add the biocontrol agents Trichoderma, Pseudomonas, and Bacillus. And these three biocontrol agents, the thing which you should remember is for the wetland crop, you have to just go for the Pseudomonas and Bacillus. And for the dryland and garden land crop, you have to just go for the Trichoderma because of the aerobic and anaerobic nature. Lastly, I would like to say, now we are just in the 4th generation fungicides. So long back, all these fungicides were targeting on the microorganisms and they were toxic to the microorganism. Now these 4th generation fungicides are the plant activators and they activate the different genes. They just give the systemic acquired resistance to the plant. And there is no antimicrobial properties. This should be known to all so that they'll be able to use these 4th generation fungicides like Actigard, Propanazole, Harpin. All this they are just able to give the immunity to the crop. And it has to have two advantages. One is this is having long residual activity and it needs no frequent application. So the crop will be able to take this plant activators and it will be having immunity. The second thing, the very dangerous thing wherein when you just when you just spray the fungicides, resistance will develop in the pathogens. But now when you just go for the plant activators, there will be no resistant development in the pathogens. So all these things which I have just now discussed is being taught in kids. And the School of Agriculture Sciences, we teach fundamentals and diseases course to the students, wherein all the students are getting this information and they will be definitely be carrying this to the field level and be able to solve the biotic problems. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for sharing your insights on this topic. It was a lovely presentation. And now we have our final speaker. She is Dr. Dhanusha Balakrishnan. She's the Assistant Professor, Department of Agriculture, Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences, Coimbatore. She is a dedicated agricultural extensionist with expertise in climate change, vulnerability assessment to disasters, and subaltern studies. She has an experience in fostering community engagement, delivering impactful workshops, and optimizing crop management for enhanced agricultural productivity. She was selected for short-term research stay program at Justice Lieberg University, Germany, under STG Nexus Network from Kerala Agricultural University. She'll now be addressing us on the topic Agricultural Economics and Advisory Services. Over to you.
Thank you, ma'am. I shall now share the screen. Alice, ma'am, can you stop sharing, ma'am, the screen? Alice, ma'am. Ma'am, can you please stop sharing the screen? Yes, thank you. Is it visible? Okay, thank you, ma'am, for the introduction. So as we have seen, we will be now focusing on the smart agriculture applications in the field of social sciences, which includes agriculture extension, economics, and agribusiness management. So what is this agriculture extension or farm extension? It is just the application of scientific research and new knowledge related to agricultural practices in the farm through farmer education. So it is central to agricultural growth. So as we have seen, we are now leaning towards the agriculture 4.0. So this demands the evolution of extension as well to farm extension 4.0, where we have the development of smart farmer, smart farming, and smart village in an agricultural ecosystem. The usual paradigms or the conventional systems of agriculture extension were technology transfer, advisory work, human resource development, and facilitation for empowerment. And the major modes of communication that we have used to achieve these objectives were face to face training, use of training products such as manuals, and finally, demonstration. It is this system which is changing now, or we are now changing, or we are now leveraging to smart agriculture applications with the advent of IoT. Now we can see which are the major applications in the case of advisory services. First, we have enhanced information dissemination, where digital platforms are used, such as mobile applications, websites, and social media channels for disseminating real time information to the farmers. So, in the case of mobile apps, we have Kisan Suvidha, IFCO Kisan, and Agri apps. And in the case of websites, we have government and private agricultural portals offering extensive updates on agricultural news, and also social media platforms such as Facebook, WhatsApp, YouTube, and even Instagram channels, which are exclusively dedicated for agricultural purposes. And then we have SMS and voice messages. Tailored SMS and voice messages are there to provide communication with the farmers in their local languages. For example, we have RML Farmer and M Kisan. Then voice messages are there, such as Ava Avaz Uthalo, which can be translated into Raise Your Voice, and Lifelines Agriculture, where pre recorded voice messages are available in the local languages of the farmer. So after that, we have the train and capacity building. For the training and the capacity building, other than the usual one-to-one trainings that we have now advanced to e-learning platforms which provide online courses such as MOOCs and webinars, the one we are having now, and the platforms provided by Digital Green. And we have virtual reality and augmented reality applications where simulations are created for the farmers, where he can experience and practice skills such as equipment handling in a virtual environment. And then we have the application for farmers' feedback and knowledge assessment. Here we have 4 categories. Under farmers' feedback, there are businesses such as Digital Green, which uses digital applications to get the feedback of the farmers regarding the products that they have providing. Then we have adoption of recommended practices. IFCO application, they track the extent to which the farmers use the recommended practices in their fields. And we have impact evaluation of extension programs. eSago system is an example where they try to understand the knowledge, knowledge, skill, and attitude of the farmers before and after a program has been implemented. Then we have farmer satisfaction and service quality. KVK Network use the digital platform to know the farmer satisfaction for the training programs that they have conducted. Then we have advisory services. As we have already seen, Plantix. It is an AI-powered chatbot where human-like interference or human-like conversations are available for the farmers. And then we have decision support system. FarmPulse is an example which uses data from various sources, including weather forecast, satellite imagery, and pest trap to offer tailored pest management recommendations to the farmers. Now we can move on to the applications in agricultural economics and agribusiness management. First, in the case of market analysis and forecasting, we have price prediction. Businesses and companies like AgriBazaar and MNIML, they use these big data and machine learning algorithms to predict market prices, helping the farmers decide the best time to sell their produce. Then we have supply chain optimization. NinjaCart and AgroStar, they are the categories which use real-time data on production levels to improve the supply chain efficiency, reduce the wastage, and maximize customer satisfaction. And other applications include traceability by using blockchain and other tracking technologies to ensure transparency and traceability, inventory management to create an inventory stock on raw materials, goods in process, and finally, the finished goods. Cost benefit analysis to undergo or to analyze cost effectiveness of different farming practices, which ultimately help a farmer in better financial planning. And we have access to finance. Every credit organization need to have a record on the farm performance or the areas where the farm is doing well and the weaker sections. So digital records and data analytics help the lenders to get reliable information on the performance of a farm. So these are certain applications, companies, and platforms which use this IoT or the smart techniques in their businesses. For example, Enam, it is a trading platform. AgriBazaar, which provides linkages of the farmers with the business people. Gramophone is an area or a platform which help the farmer to buy inputs and services. And Agri10x, it's a blockchain tracking system which helps to ensure transparency in the supply chain management. Then we have Ninja Cart, as I've already said. Then Big Heart, it is also a linkage system where the small farmers are linked to the retailers and big businessmen. So as we have seen, we have so many digital applications, we have so many IoT applications in the case of agriculture. So where are we lacking? Why do we still lag behind in production and productivity? Everything point towards one single answer, that is digital literacy among the Indian farmers. It is said that the digital literacy of the Indian farmers still stands at 23%, which is still a disappointing figure. So what we can do, or what is the reason? The one major reason would be awareness and usage. Many farmers are aware of digital tools and applications, but the extent to which they use depends upon their socio-economic conditions and their financial status. Then we have access to digital tools. Mobile phone penetration is high. Many farmers own feature phones and smartphones. But the internet connectivity remains a challenge in remote and rural areas, limiting access to online resources and services. Educational and skill barriers. A large proportion of the Indian farmers still have lower levels of formal education, which directly hinder or create an obstacle in their ability to effectively use digital tools. So, what are the strategies? What are the things that we can implement and adopt to improve this situation? The one is transformation into e-farmer and e-extension worker. Extension workers should be skilled to teach the farmer regarding this IoT and smart farming applications, so that we can have a farmer group or a farmer group who are skilled in utilizing these digital applications. For that, we can conduct a e-literacy campaign, access to information, that is creation of appropriate location-specific contents and advisory systems should be brought into place, and socialize the benefits of IoT. Whenever a farmer gets some benefits from an IoT application, he should be given a platform or an opportunity to share his experience with other farmers as well, so that the information is disseminated to a larger scale. So if we can put this all into place, we can obviously attain this goal of moving to the e extension or extension 4.0, and finally agriculture 4.0. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving us that lovely presentation. We'll have one or two open questions that can be answered by the experts because we're running out of time. The remaining questions that are not answered, you will get your answers done via email, so you don't have to worry about that. So one of our questions goes, this is for Professor Sarjan. It says, nowadays, outdoor vertical farms are getting popular. Are vegetables grown on poly sheets used for vertical farms safe for human consumptions? And can the plastic in the poly sheets lead to soil and to the produce due to weathering from the solar radiation? That is one of our questions. Dr. Sarjan, if you can give us an answer for it.
The first part of the question is?
Nowadays, outdoor vertical farms are getting popular. Are vegetables grown on poly sheets safe for human consumptions?
Yeah, vertical farms is picking up like anything, particularly with the advancement in hydroponics and aeroponics. The good side of it is cost of the structure itself is very less. The return is near to 10 to 12 times. Third, there is no much what you call in any way, there is no case of pollution coming in. As far as the problem in using polyhouses has already been linked with microplastics. Now it is a waste that is creating the problem from the polyhouse when it is being removed, the polyfilm. But they find a big use in the development in other as a resource material, like for high density, we say polyethylene pipes, the PVC pipes. So as of now, they do not really cause a problem. Instead, the basic material, which is like the bottled water, when kept in for long, that could create a problem. But they are not actually being used as of now. What we use as a polyhouse material coating, PVC film, is normally recycled for as a basic resources for the pipe, small plastic pipes, and it has many other uses also. So it is not going down into the, we will say, into the soil or in any way polluting the soil. Health benefits, definitely. When you go into see all about fruit and vegetable, it is characterized and grouped under the big name of protective foods. So the protective foods actually serve to, just like what Madam said, it builds up the immunity and the resistance, like vitamin C, minerals, antioxidants, polyphenols, all those things. So this is mostly derived from fruits and vegetables. So basically, when you look at the entire scenario of the protective foods, the maximum that is coming up, particularly those who are vegetarian, the world is also moving towards a vegetarianism. Now, if you look, Germans are supposed to be the most of the well-built people. They are also increasingly moving into vegetarianism. So basically, from where do they get their entire nutrient supplement? It is basically from fruits and vegetables. India, from age-old times, if you look, the evolution towards non-vegetarian has only come into very recent, but at a very increasing rate. I hope I have answered the question.
Yes, definitely. So we'll just have one more question before we wrap up. This is for Dr. Danusha. We have a question that says, what are the economic benefits of decision support systems in agriculture? Dr. Danusha,
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
what are the economic benefits of decision support systems in agriculture?
Yes, ma'am. Decision support system, they are meant to provide precision in the farming practices. And they also help to have optimized resource use by reducing the wastage, and ultimately so that the overall farm management is improved and the overall well-being of the farmers is improved. And risk management is also a good application of decision support system, where the farmers can have the ability to mitigate the risk associated with weather, pest, and diseases when he can use the inbuilt the prediction that is here in the decision support systems.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving us the answer. I think all the questions have already been answered. In case your questions are not answered, you will get them answered via email. So you don't have to worry about that. And with that being said, we've now come to the end of this webinar where we learned and gathered insights about smart agriculture. A big thanks to the experts from Karunya Institute for being here and answering all of our questions and giving your presentations to us patiently. And a big thanks to our audience for interacting and keeping our session going on very, very vibrantly. This was the webinar on smart agriculture brought to you by Karunya Institute of Technology and Sciences under the Hindu Education Plus Career Counseling Series. Thank you all very much and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Priya.